I was living in Seattle and studying theater, and I think I was maybe 19 or 20, and I had an agent at the time for, any commercials that came into town or videos or anything like that. And I got a call from her that this director, David Lynch, was in town casting and had seen my headshot and was interested in bringing me in to talk to me about the role of a dead girl. I think that was said to me, but they didn't really know anything else about it. It was all very secretive. And so I was very, very nervous, had no television or film experience, and I went in and met David, and he was immediately warm and funny and kind and welcoming, and asked me a few questions and talked to me a little bit about being dipped in cold water and painted blue and gray, and that was how it all started. I was very intrigued about what he would be like as a person and as an artist and as a director, and what this project would be about. I had seen Elephant Man, which touched me on such a deep level and moved me on such a deep level, and I had seen Blue Velvet. And it's hard for me to find words to talk about any of David's work. I'm always intrigued and touched and awed and mesmerized and shocked and challenged and delighted and so many things. I don't know that I ever read the pilot script because I was cast originally for only about 4 days of work as a corpse. And so I didn't have any lines, and David talked to me about who Laura was, what they knew at that time. And then I had some flashback scenes with Donna and some photo shoots. And I just want to make this clear. I was never a homecoming queen in my real life. That photo was done on set specifically for that show.
Hey, baby.
So it started out as 4 days, and then I think ended up being a few more extra, just little pickup things or flashback things. And then I stayed in Seattle. And then about 6 months later, I got a call from David asking if I would want to come be on the show. And I said, well, yes, I'd love to, but I'm dead.
Are you going to see James tonight? Why are you suddenly so interested in who I'm going to see at night? Nighttime is my time.
On Fire Walk with Me, I don't ever remember one time specifically where David called me and said, now this is happening. For me, it was more of a memory of a long, creative, explorative process. And I have no sense of time from when that started until when we started filming. Because the other thing that feels very strange for me is, for me, Laura's life is one long, it's all connected. Fans are much better at differentiating what happened in the first season, what happened in the second season, what happened in Fire Walk with Me. For me, it's all one memory because it's one life.
Oh, these hands are filthy. Look. There's dirt way under this fingernail.
Leland, what are you doing?
Look at this finger here.
Leland?
Laura did not wash her hands before dinner.
Ray and Grace, I am so blessed. to be able to know them as people and to be able to work with them and to have worked with them from that beginning part of my career. They are both master artists, just incredible to witness and to be in a scene with. They can do anything. Their range, both of them, from serious dramatic work to 2 seconds later being hysterically funny to just the way they use their instrument is beyond inspiring. I have such sweet memories of Frank. And I also remember, even at that young age, having some sort of understanding of, not anything that I could have articulated then, but this understanding of, wow, creatively, to take that role on. That's not an easy thing for many, 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 many reasons. And he just was also such a kind, wonderful person to be around. There was one scene in particular where I was so stuck and I felt so embarrassed and ashamed and frustrated with myself, and it was just me.
Oh my God, oh my God.
And I had lines, and they weren't feeling true to me. And I just was internally beating myself up about this. And I finally said, David, I'm so sorry, something like this. Something is not right, and I don't know what it is. I just can't, something's not right. And he was so incredible because instead of getting upset with me, he gave both of us the space and the time to dive deeper into what was needing to be revealed. So I'll never forget that, because that's not always the way that moment happens.
You don't even know me. There are things about me. Even Donna doesn't know me.
I love Angelo so much. As a person and as an artist, I couldn't have been given a better gift or tool for the development of a character as his music.
Your Laura disappeared.
I mean, it just, even today, if I'm somewhere and all of a sudden I hear just the first 5 seconds, I feel that character. It's potent music, and it worked very, very well for me to use as a way in. The bar scene, I remember on the day that we were filming, there was very loud music. And I remember David using music a lot. I feel like there were times even when, if there wasn't going to be a lot of dialogue in the scene, he could use the music up until a certain point. He understood what a helpful tool that was, especially in a scene like that in a bar. Yeah, that music, that whole environment felt like what it was supposed to feel like. That was not an easy day's work for many, many, many reasons. Thank goodness that the crew that David hires and the other actors that he brings in are all very, very respectful. And, you know, in order to do a scene like that, there are very specific things that have to happen. You know, it's like this has to happen on this line, or this has to happen on this line, or this has to happen. But then at the same time, because of the state that Laura's in, there is this whole other place that one has to go mentally and emotionally, which is in the opposite direction of being of specifics. So it's being able to find the way in with the awareness of both of those things. Working in the Red Room for me is truly working in an altered state mentally in a way, because it's different rules. It's a different way of being a human being. And if I think of how it's supposed to be, or if I get too in my head of how am I gonna do this, it blocks me. And it's very easy to get into, I don't know how I'm gonna do that. As soon as that comes in, I gotta set that aside. And I always go back to this. I trust David. I trust David. I trust David's vision. I trust, even if I think I have no idea how in the world I'm gonna get there, I trust that David will know how to get me there. David directs totally different than any other director that I've worked with. I think the thing that I have learned the most from David is about staying present in the moment, especially because sometimes the way that he works, the logical mind doesn't have anything to grab onto. And that can feel kind of scary. Like, well, wait, if I don't understand what's happening or what's gonna happen, or if I don't understand why I'm saying this or what, it can feel disorienting. But then to surrender to who am I talking to, who am I playing, where am I, you know, what's happening in this moment, and just to be completely present in that allows for this thing that's bigger than everybody else, and this life force and this creative energy to come into the room and to play. And that's what we hope for every day. Certain things we didn't need to talk about at all. They just were there. We just knew them. And by the time we were shooting Fire Walk with Me, there was also, I feel like our communication, we just didn't need a whole bunch of words at that point. He's a master at being able to use not a lot of words, but using them in a way that they are so potent that he takes you exactly where he wants you to be. And it's not something that happens with the logical part of the mind. It's something that happens, for me, in a place of deep trust and surrender.
Are you? Who are you really?
It was hard for me to let Laura go, only in the sense that she had required so much of my attention and space in my life. And I was exhausted. As soon as Fire Walk with Me wrapped, I was able to go see my own family, and that was the best thing that could have happened, to just take a breather, step away, go back to my roots, my past. I remember I have this moment that is so specific. It was, I almost want to say that it was over a week after Fire Walk with Me wrapped. And I was in Los Angeles, and I was in a grocery store, and I was standing at the checkout line, and I became aware that I was having my own thoughts again. And it's a strange thing to try to figure out how to articulate what the acting process is or what happens for an actor. And it certainly, even for me, my process is different with every character that I play. But I've never played a character that required so much of my body, mind, heart, and soul that there was very little space for me left during that time. For me, Sheryl left during that time. So to be standing in a grocery line a week after filming and realize, oh my word, I just had a thought that was mine, that was Sheryl's. And it just tickled me because it was as if I could take a deep breath and I felt free. Fire Walk with Me was very difficult for me to watch, and also just a reminder as well of just David's work and all of the artists that David surrounds himself with is just, I'm just awed by his work and by what he does and by his depth of storytelling and the complexities of his storytelling and the complexities of his characters and the beauty of his filmmaking and what he does with sound and every aspect of his filmmaking. Every time I revisit or re-see any of his work, I am reminded of that and awed by that and grateful to be a part of that. And emotionally, it's a reminder of this is a movie, but this continues to happen every day. And how can we stop it? When I watch Fire Walk with Me now, as a mother, I watch it and I think, look at all those signs that were being exhibited. This girl was in danger, and look at all these people that were in her life. What would have happened if somewhere, somehow, someone could have helped or stopped it? That's hard to watch.
You're on something again, huh?
James,
So when will I get to see you?
I'm still trying to understand what Laura Palmer means or symbolizes. I do know that many women have come up to me and shared their stories of incest and how Laura's story affected them in some way in their lives. And as I get older also, and as that question incubates in me and deepens in me, if Laura's story is still continuing, in what way can it serve? I can read a book now that I read when I was 25, and I can find a whole new meaning in the book. And I can say, that's what that book was about. But is that because the author intended me to do that? Or is that because of the eyes and experience that I'm reading it with? And I feel in a way like David's work gives us that freedom as well. That, yes, the symbology and all of this is there. And what we do with it, based on where we are in our lives at that point, or where we are in terms of listening to storytelling, or what themes we're working on in our own subconscious, that's where we're going to see and experience the work from. I've never asked David, is this your intention, or is this what you meant by this, or is this mean this, or does this mean that? And I don't know that he would tell me. I don't know. For me, am so delighted by the exploration of his creative process and the mystery of it. My relationship with this character, Laura Palmer, has been a very interesting journey. She's with me much longer than I thought she would ever be. I think there was an entire decade somewhere in there where she went far, far away while I was off doing other things. But she keeps coming back. And creatively, it's been fascinating to try to find an understanding of why and what does that mean at different phases in my life. I hadn't watched the series of Twin Peaks in something like 25 years. I hadn't watched Fire Walk with Me in 25 years. So the past year of revisiting the series and the film Fire Walk with Me at 50 years old now, 3 decades later, and as a mom and as a woman who's, lived, and to see it from a new perspective, and to also see myself as a young, at 20 we don't realize, at 20 and 21 and 22, we don't realize how young we actually are. So yes, it's been, I'm learning a lot going back through all of this again.